12, that's how many children she buried. 12 families trusted her. 12 children never came home. And for 15 years, no one suspected a thing. Because she was perfect patient, kind. She was everything a Victorian family wanted in a governess, until the day they dug up her garden. Welcome back to Dark True Crime, where we investigate the cases history tried to bury. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on notifications. This channel uncovers forgotten crimes with forensic analysis and historical research. Today's case takes us to Victorian France, to a woman trusted with the most precious thing a family could give, their children. Her name was Céleste Dubois, and for 15 years she was considered one of the finest governesses in all of Paris. Until November 1870, when a gardener's shovel struck bone. Céleste Dubois was born in 1835 in Lyon, France, the daughter of a seamstress and a factory worker. By age 16, she had secured a position as a governess for a wealthy merchant family in Paris. This was remarkable for someone of her class. She was educated, refined, patient with children, everything a Victorian family desired. Between 1855 and 1870, Céleste worked for 7 different families, all of them wealthy, all of them with young children, and every family gave her glowing recommendations. "She is firm but kind," one mother wrote. "The children adore her." "We trust her completely with our most precious treasures," wrote another. By 1868, Céleste had saved enough money to purchase a small estate outside Paris, a cottage with gardens, high walls, privacy. The property was remote. The nearest neighbor was half a mile away, perfect for someone with secrets. She told her employers she would continue working as a governess, but now children would come to her, a private school of sorts. The families agreed, they trusted her, and that trust would cost 12 children their lives. The first child arrived in March 1869. Her name was Marie Laurent, 7 years old, the daughter of a textile merchant. Marie's parents were relocating to Lyon for business. The move would be difficult for a child, they thought. Better to leave her with Céleste temporarily, in a stable, loving environment. They paid Céleste 6 months in advance, 100 francs a fortune. They promised to write every week. Marie promised to write back. Marie never wrote back. When the parents inquired, Céleste had an answer ready. She explained that Marie had been adopted by a distant cousin, a wealthy family in Provence. They had fallen in love with Marie instantly. "She's thriving," Céleste wrote. "She has her own pony. She's learning piano. She asks about you, but she's so happy." The parents were devastated, but they believed her. Why wouldn't they? Céleste was trustworthy. She had credentials, references, and Marie was better off, wasn't she? They mourned their loss, but they believed their daughter was safe. Between March 1869 and November 1870, 11 more children came to Céleste's estate. Some were left by families relocating for work. Others were orphans sent by churches. A few were children of unwed mothers, desperate for discretion. All of them between the ages of 4 and 10. And all of them disappeared. Céleste had the same story every time. The child had been adopted, sent to a loving family in the countryside, doing wonderfully. No one questioned her. She was Céleste Dubois, the perfect governess. Until November 1870, when everything changed. Before we continue, let's understand what was happening here from a psychological perspective. Céleste Dubois displayed classic signs of what modern forensic psychology identifies as caretaker homicide with financial motive. Unlike cases driven by rage or sexual violence, caretaker killers often show these patterns. 1. They occupy positions of trust. teachers, nurses, nannies, doctors. 2. They kill methodically over extended periods, not in bursts of emotion but with cold calculation. 3. They rationalize their actions. The child was suffering. They're better off now. I gave them peace. Dr. Catherine Ramsland, a forensic psychologist, explains it this way. These killers don't see themselves as murderers. They see themselves as problem solvers. The child is an inconvenience. Death is simply the most efficient solution. In Celeste's case, the children represented income. Families paid her to care for them, sometimes months in advance. But actually caring for 12 children? Expensive, difficult, exhausting. So Céleste made a calculation. She could keep the money, eliminate the burden, and no one would ever know. So she took the money and buried the children. On November 14, 1870, a gardener named Henri Moreau was hired to prepare Céleste's estate for winter. He was digging near the back fence when his shovel struck something solid. At first, he thought it was a rock, then a dead animal. But when he brushed away the dirt, he saw fabric, lace, the kind used for children's clothing. Then bones, small bones, then a small skull, no bigger than his fist. Henri ran to the village gendarmerie. Within an hour, police arrived at Céleste's estate. She was in her parlor, drinking tea, reading a book. She answered the door with a smile. "Gentlemen," she said, "how may I help you?" The lead officer explained. A body had been found. They needed to search the grounds. Céleste didn't flinch. "Of course you may search," she told them. "I have nothing to hide." The police began digging. 1 hour, 2 graves, 2 hours, 5 graves. By sunset, they had found 12 graves, 12 children ages 4 to 10. Some had been buried for over a year, others for just weeks. Each grave was shallow, hastily dug. The children were wrapped in old blankets. No coffins, no ceremony. They had been discarded. Céleste Dubois was arrested immediately. During questioning, she showed no emotion, no remorse, no panic. When asked about the children, she said simply, "They were burdens. I gave them peace." When asked why she killed them, she said, "It was practical." When asked if she felt guilt, she said, "No. Should I?" The investigators were horrified. They had never seen someone so calm, so rational, so completely devoid of conscience. Forensic examination revealed the cause of death: poisoning, likely arsenic, mixed into their evening milk. Céleste would give each child a glass of warm milk before bed. A sweet drink, a comforting routine. The children would drink it. They would feel sleepy. They would go to bed. And they would never wake up. Céleste had kept meticulous financial records, payment receipts from every family, dates, amounts, but there were no records of adoptions, no letters, no forwarding addresses, because there were no adoptions. There never had been. The trial of Céleste Dubois began in March 1871. It lasted 6 days. The courtroom was packed. Journalists from across Europe attended. Céleste showed no emotion throughout. She sat calmly, hands folded. When families testified about their lost children, she watched with mild curiosity. When the prosecutor asked, "Why did you kill them?" she responded without hesitation, "I did what was necessary. The families paid me. I provided a service. The children were obstacles to efficiency." The courtroom gasped. "Do you understand that you murdered 12 children?" the prosecutor demanded. "I understand that I solved 12 problems," Céleste replied. The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Guilty on all 12 counts of murder. Under French law, Céleste Dubois was sentenced to death by guillotine. She was executed on May 3, 1871, in Paris. She was 36 years old. As she climbed the scaffold, she was asked if she had any final words. She looked at the crowd, and she said, "I regret nothing." Then the blade fell. The families of the victims were devastated. Most had trusted Céleste completely. One father wrote, "We gave her our child believing she would be safe. We were fools, and our daughter paid the price for our trust." The case shocked France. It led to new regulations for governesses and orphanages, background checks, inspections, accountability. But for 12 families, the reforms came too late. The case of Céleste Dubois remains one of the most chilling examples of betrayed trust in French history. She was not driven by rage or hatred. She was driven by convenience, by greed, by the cold calculation that children were obstacles to profit. This raises an uncomfortable question. How many other Céleste Dubois existed in history? How many children disappeared into the care of trusted figures who saw them not as lives to protect, but as problems to eliminate? In Victorian society, children, especially poor or orphaned children, were often invisible. Their disappearances went unnoticed, uninvestigated. Céleste's only mistake was burying them too close to home. Next week, we travel to Louisiana, 1860, to a plantation owner who committed an unthinkable act against his own daughters. What are your thoughts on the Céleste Dubois case? Could this happen today? Drop your comments below. If you found this case disturbing, hit that like button and subscribe for more forgotten crimes. I'm Dark True Crime, and history's darkest secrets are waiting.